afternoon, my name is Tony Lee and I am a #1 New York Times best-selling author. I write comics and books and TV shows and movies. I've written characters like Doctor Who, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Superboy, Spider-Man, X-Men, Wallace and Gromit, Shrek, the list goes on. For TV and film, I've written for BBC Television, I've written for US and UK producers. But my TV and film I don't think I could ever have done if I hadn't started writing for comics, and I think my comic work has actually helped me. And because of this, I work with Raindance to talk to screenwriters about writing comics. Many people out there think, well, comics are great and it's quite simple and it's quite easy because it's just words on a paper and an artist draws it. I've had conversations with TV executives who think they could just turn up and do one in a couple of weeks. But it isn't that simple. Comics are one of the most difficult things you can possibly write. It might sound that that's a bit strange, but it's absolutely true. If you write a book, it can be as long as you want. Your book can be 100 pages, 500 pages, 10,000 pages. Let's look at Wheel of Time or Game of Thrones. But if you're writing a film or TV screenplay, again, it can be 90 pages, 110 pages, 150 pages. The director or the editor will just cut it down to what it needs to be. But when you're writing a comic, you're kind of stuck with a real estate that's set from the start. It is 22 pages, it is 100 pages. Whatever that deadline is, when you sell to a publisher, they already tell you what you've got to work with. You can't go over that. You can't go under that. You must hit that exact mark. So therefore, when you're writing a comic, you need to jump through a lot more hoops. My workshop is aimed very much at doing all of that. I talk to you from the very beginning. I treat you like you've never done anything before. I talk about how to create the idea, how to work backwards from that idea to create a solid plot, how to make that plot sound better, to look at the characters in the story and how they work, the subplots, the sub-characters, how all these things work together. I talk about the pitches that you do, the networking, the scripting itself, the dialogue and how the dialogue works. I talk about when you find that you've gone too many pages, how to bring that back down, or if you've not done enough, how to expand that out. All of these things will help you become a great comic writer, but more importantly, they will help you become a great script writer, because everything that I learned in comics has helped me when I'm writing screenplays. The things that I've learned that teach me to compress my comics has also helped me to remove the fat out of scenes and keep my stories consistently moving. If you come to my talk, if you come to my workshop, you don't have to want to write comics. You don't have to have a screenplay that you want to turn into a comic, which is quite a common thing. It doesn't matter. You can just turn up just to gain more advice and more help in screenwriting, in scripting, in dialoguing, in coming up with those ideas and the best way to do so. But more importantly, you could possibly sell your scripts. You could possibly sell your screenplays, because in the time I've been doing this, which is several years, I've had producers, directors and actors all turn up to my show, and all of them have, during that time of my talk, often spoken to other writers, built up careers, and I know at least one writer at my talk who sold several films to a producer because of meeting him at my talk. I also know a writer who met an artist at my talk and they now do their own comic for Image Comics. I know writers who have done my talk and have now started working for DC, Marvel or even Titan Books. So there is an opportunity here that not only can you gain work from this, but you can gain insight and experience in how to create comics, more importantly, how to write, which, to be perfectly honest, is the most important thing. If I hadn't written comics for 10 years or so, I wouldn't have been able to move into graphic novels, into screenplays and into film and TV and things like that. I honestly couldn't experience the things I do without the backing I have. It teaches you how to write fast. It teaches you how to come up with ideas on the fly. It teaches you how to take your idea and fit it to the perfect genre.